There are some stories that you just want to sleep on every once in a while, or just give some room to breathe, and this was definitely one of them, because this one, it just seems so tragic, dude, okay? 153 people dead, dozens injured, Halloween stampede in Seoul, South Korea. Yeah, and it didn't get any better some 24 hours later, man. Hearts and thoughts and prayers, not in like the hacky sense or anything like that. It's just, it's a legitimate tragedy, okay? Like there's no two ways about it, okay? There was no nefarious goals, there was no terrorism attack. This is just what happens when a whole bunch of people get vastly out of control, and it's the worst possible scenario that happens. So we'll tread lightly. Don't expect a whole bunch of belly laughs that are out there, okay? Because this one's pretty grisly. At least 153 people were killed and over 100 more injured during a stampede during Halloween festivities in Itaewon. I believe that's the way that you pronounce that. Okay, district of Seoul, South Korea. The first outdoor mask-free celebration of the holiday since the 2020 pandemic, local media reported. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how hard South Korea locked down. I don't think it was terribly difficult. I think they were one of the places that was actually pretty decent. Okay, them and Sweden were a couple of the places that were, keeping it above board when it came to restrictions. So I could be wrong on that one. Might be wrong on that, but even still, man, that just sucks all around. Like there's no silver lining to this big dead rainbow. Oh man, can we get like something that's not so tragic? That's a little bit better, I guess. It's just, at least there's no close-ups on, body bags or body tarps. There were about 100,000 revelers out celebrating the popular nightlife area, according to Yonhap News. 100,000 people in, like, I don't know how long or how big that place is, but okay, for comparison's sake, like I'm up here, Grand Prairie, Alberta and stuff. It's like the closest comparison that I can draw is White Ave in Edmonton, and that's running the entire gamut, about a half dozen blocks. I couldn't imagine 20,000 people. Like, I haven't been down during any of the Oilers playoff celebrations or anything like that, but if there is a whole bunch of drunken people, and by a whole bunch I mean 100,000 people lining those 4, 5, 6 lane streets, oh man, that's not normally one for regulations, but that seems a little bit extreme, okay? 26 of the victims were foreign nationals, including 2 Americans, South Korea Fire Department said on Sunday. Yeah, I've seen some other reports right now coming out that people are being identified, and I don't want to belabor this topic at all, trust me. It's just current event that's out there right now. We got to kind of, at least inform some people that are out there. But 20-year-old nursing student, which normally we have a laugh at that, but not today, man. She's among one of the 153, unfortunately. Did not provide any details on age or identity of any of the victims. Well, there you go. We got one of them so far. Okay. Officials warned the death toll could rise further, with 37 in serious injury. Holy crap. Well, it's at least, that's why I wanted to give this some room to breathe, because man, it needed some sort of answers to this stuff, okay? Videos posted online showed people in fancy costumes being pushed through the narrow streets. Some appeared to climb on walls on either side in an attempt to escape. Other video shows body bags, emergency workers performing CPR, and rescuers trying to pull unconscious people trapped beneath the crowd. Pictures showed people lying in the streets near Itaewon's Hamilton Hotel receiving first aid and being taken to ambulances. Government officials sent emergency text messages urging people in the area to return home. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess better late than never. More than 400 emergency workers and 140 vehicles were deployed. I don't really want to take a look at any more pictures because it's just sad. It's really sad. Some celebrants were completely trapped in the elbow-to-elbow crowd, the Washington Post reported. The noise was too loud for many to call for help. Yeah, it's 100,000 people in an area with wall-to-wall buildings. Like, the sound is just going to echo, amplify, and carry for a long time. So that's probably a situation you don't want to hear any of the video from. I'm sure there's probably a lot of TikToks and Instagram Reels that are out there, and I don't want to hear any of it. It sounds like this could be a literal manifestation of hell on earth, okay? Sounds like ass, okay? South Korean President Yoo Suk Yeol called an emergency meeting with senior aides and ordered medical teams to the area, the BBC in his office reported Saturday. Officials said 1,700 One response personnel were on site, including 517 firefighters, 1,100 police officers, and 70 government workers. Don't necessarily know what they're going to do out there, but maybe just, I don't know, allocate funds or something like that. Hopefully they're doing something, helpful at least. Itaewon area was too crowded and felt unsafe, some wrote on social media earlier in the evening. Yeah, if estimates are correct, that's a lot of people. There's no two ways about it. There was far too many people, and this is obviously going to lead to some sort of regulation of the area. Okay, well, I think that they had the propensity, governments in general just have the propensity to overregulate. Hopefully some cooler heads will prevail on this one, and I don't know, how do you properly go about this? Enforce the fire codes on the different clubs that are in the area, regulate the flow of traffic on the sidewalks a la New York City. What are we talking here? How busy is this area normally? Does it need this stuff from sundown to sun up in the morning while the clubs are open and popping? These are all of these things that are going to have to get put into place if they're not already in place. Otherwise, there's going to be some splaining to do by the police officers, okay? Dozens of dead bodies were in the street. Choi Sang-byom, chief of Seoul's Yongsan Fire Department, told reporters, noting that 13 dead bodies had been sent to the hospital. Area is still so chaotic that they are trying to figure out what exact number of people were injured. Moon Hyun-ju, an official, told the National Fire Agency. At least some of the victims were foreigners, according to reports. Yoon ordered officials to identify the victims as quickly as possible for the sake of the worried families. He also activated an emergency management headquarters and immediately put the country's prime minister in charge of investigating the tragedy. You know what? Hey, I got to give big ups to the leadership right here, because these guys acted like that, okay? It's nothing like hurricane response and then Biden just meandering down to Florida a couple of days later just to go, it's all climate change, okay, we'll see you later, and Ron's got this under control, okay? These guys are acting like Ron DeSantis did, okay? As soon, obviously, you weren't going to have any advanced warning when it came to this stuff, making sure that the power linemen and all the, appropriate emergency officials were going to be down there at the time, but it seems like at least he's acting incredibly quickly here, so big ups to that. Seoul officials began hearing about people buried in the crowds at around 10:24 p.m. local time on Saturday. I saw the people going to the left side, and I saw a person getting to the opposite side. Witness Song Se-hoon told CNN the person in the middle got jammed, so they had no way to communicate. They could not breathe. Oh, great, wonderful, fantastic. And if the mood isn't light enough already, I got one more story. Partygoers tried to save Seoul stampede victims with CPR, but they were already dead. Yay, good, and wonderful, wonderful Sunday story for everybody. Partygoers celebrating Seoul's Itaewon district, where at least 153 people were killed in the Halloween crowd surge Saturday, were asked to help resuscitate victims of the stampede, some of whom were already dead by the time they got help. Oh my gosh. There's some terrible ways to die, okay? You can argue the most painful, most excruciating way to go. Being trampled underfoot during an expected night of debauchery where, at best, if that's your thing, maybe getting stepped on later in the night in the comfort of your own home or hotel room. Maybe, potentially, if that's your gimmick, if that's your kink. But, yeah, man, this is tough. Officials in Seoul, South Korea, said Sunday, that 26 of the victims were foreign nationals. Wow, that's gone up since the previous article. I think it was just 20 beforehand. I could be getting numbers mixed up. It's just so tragic, including at least 2 Americans. The ages and identities have not been shared. One partygoer, 24-year-old named Anna, visiting from Spain, told BBC she and her friend Melissa, 19, from Germany, so a Spanish chick and a German chick go into a South Korean bar, and it sounds like the beginning of a joke, and then 153 people died. Okay, not a funny joke though. Had been at a bar next to where the crush took place, and were trying to leave as ambulances arrived. Neither knew how to perform CPR, but quickly began following instructions given by others at the scene. I think the way it is right now, it's just chest compressions. And if you ever find yourself in a situation, I've been through numerous CPR, okay, numerous first aid courses, so I know a thing or two about a thing or two, okay. There's this thing called the xiphoid process, okay, see if I can, you can kind of get that right there. I'm hitting it with my ring finger on my left hand right here. It's that little indentation, okay, that's right there in between the rib cages right there. What you want to do is you want to properly go over the chest, okay, by covering most of the rib bones, or not the rib bones there, sorry. Well, I guess it would be the rib bones, but I meant the rib cage, okay? And then interlock your fingers with your bottom hand, whatever your strong hand is going to be. Me, I'm right-handed, so I have my right hand down at the bottom. And then you interlock your hands over top of that, making sure that you don't put any pressure on that xiphoid process, because that's a little bone. It's a little... I think it's like an evolutionary sliver that's just kind of left there. And if you put any pressure on that, it has the ability to break off and then cause a lot of internal damage, okay? So what you want to do, I think, I'm pretty sure that now, because that's what it was the last time that I took first aid, okay? You don't do any inhalations, okay? You don't need to go down to the mouth or anything like that in order to perform CPR now. Now they're just saying all you need to do is just do chest compressions, okay? Not so hard or anything like that, but just something that would stimulate, something that would bend the muscle or the breast, if you know what, hey, if that's your gimmick, okay, whatever. Depending on who you're performing the CPR on, but you want to be on the chest muscle itself, not down here on the titty or anything like that. You want to be up close to the top of the chest, performing chest compressions, and then after every 10 to 15, listen down, see if there's any breath, and then just continue until an emergency personnel can come and take over. That's the way that you perform CPR. That's, of course, not medical advice or anything like that. That's just somebody who has had and held a first aid certificate since the age of 16. I know a thing or two about a thing or two. It's all incumbent on me with my personal training gimmick and all that. So you know what, hey, that's just, if you're ever in a pinch, don't say you don't learn anything from me. Anyways, neither knew how to perform CPR, but there you go, gave you a little example of it, and, you know, try to add some levity to this fucking morose story. They were telling me how to hold their heads and open their mouths. Oh yeah, that's another very important thing, okay? Make sure that the head is tilted back, not so that it's cocked, but especially in this situation, okay, especially in a trampling situation, if you suspect, even for a moment, that somebody might have a head contusion, okay, a spinal issue, don't move that shit at all whatsoever, because you could cause further damage, okay? Just, if you think that somebody's not breathing, just fucking try your hardest, okay? Just do that. Don't be fucking moving the head, checking, making sure that nothing's in the mouth, okay? If their mouth is open, you can check that way. Other than that, don't move the fucking head. That is stupid fucking advice. Don't do that. I was trying to help them, but both of them were dead as well. As they were all people they were bringing in to do CPR. Most of them were already not breathing, so they couldn't do anything. Yeah, and then it's just a bunch of sad oh my god, that's from what happened there. From people who know the situation, all it was, okay, people were just going down the street. It's a very hilly area for what I know about it, and that a lot of people were just moving down the street, and then just the simple flow of traffic led to this just mass of humanity becoming unmanageable by anybody, and then people were just trampled, and that's just the way this shit goes. It's kind of like an act of nature, man, and this is something that unfortunately happens, you know, when you get this many people in this small of an area, because there are several, okay, college football stadiums that can hold 100,000 people, okay, and they do it consistently week over week, okay. Nobody dies at those games because those stadiums, those places are properly set up, okay. It's amazing to see that many people in one place, but when these things don't go properly, when there isn't proper regulations, isn't proper etiquette put into place, and man, this shit can get fucking wild. So I hope everybody who's, you know, injured by this, you know, has a full recovery, and definitely heart goes out to anybody who's been affected by this. That is just tragic as all hell, and as bad as this sounds, I hope that death total doesn't continue to climb, because there's enough tragedy that happened over this weekend. And yeah, hopefully nothing nefarious behind this ends up coming out, okay? Hopefully we can just leave it at this. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.